Hello, friends. This is
Three Friends Talk.
I'm Dr. Courtney.
I'm Dr. Leah.
This is Dr. Sylvia.
And we are
Three Friends Talk. Oh, wow.
Oh, we took it back.
This is on my playlist.
Way back Wednesday, huh?
Right.
Well, I've been all over the SWV and Escape.
I haven't tuned in. Is it worth a watch?
I think because we like 90s music, then absolutely.
For the
do they be
nostalgia.
singing or is it just drama?
Not yet. They ain't,
Well, I
they ain't
mean, I'm
performing
still
yet.
waiting to see if there's going to be a show. So I think it's just a little bit of drama. But I like going back in time because the music is everything. So I'm definitely an SWV girl. I like Escape, but SWV for the win.
I mean, I like them both, but SWV, baby.
I'm sorry.
My heart starts
is my favorite.
beating triple
That
time.
was seven. I'm telling my age, but that was 7th grade.
Hey, friends.
Yeah, hey,
Oh yeah, we have friends. Hello, how y'all doing? It's Wednesday night. You know what that means? Another episode of Three Friends Talk.
Yeah,
y'all
baby,
was all ready for y'all ready for girl talk.
We were.
We were like, oh, we have people joining us.
Yeah, we do.
Well, I'm Dr. Courtney.
We're live every second and fourth Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern on Facebook and YouTube. Subscribe to Three Friends Talk on your favorite streaming platform. And I'm Dr. Sylvia.
Hey, Dr. Sylvia. Hey, Dr. Courtney. Yeah, so make sure that you leave us a 5-star review on the streaming platform that you choose to view and listen to us, and make sure you're checking us out on YouTube as well. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. So yeah. Hey friends, say hello in the comments. Let us know where you are checking in from tonight.
SWV or Escape, put that in the comments.
No, are we there yet?
SWV.
I'm just asking, that's been a hot topic.
Okay, so clearly we are starting girl talk with this. So what shows we've been watching lately?
I haven't watched it. It seems, I don't know.
So far, it's a little catty, but I'm getting a little more insight on why they didn't put out music for so long. It's been rumors, and they've talked about each other on blogs and on radio shows and stuff. But this is just from their own point of view.
It's a lot that's being unraveled.
It's unfortunate. I really think that they would probably make a lot of money just touring together. So I hope it happens. I would go to the show. I really would.
Dr. Sylvia, no.
I mean, everybody is very proud of their concert tickets, and I just don't like to break too much bread on concerts.
I only came to listen to the music.
I saw Escape when they did their tour. What was that? About 5-6 years ago. And it was good. I think it was Escape. It's funny because Tamar was with them at the time, so that's when that whole beef happened, right? Like, so all that's going on now. It was Tamar, Escape, and I feel like it was one other performer, and it was a good show. It was a good concert. Mm-hmm. I would like to see SWV in person, I guess, because I've never seen them in person. So yeah, I don't think that wouldn't be an outrageous ticket price. Do y'all think?
It shouldn't be.
They don't sell 30 million albums. I would love to see SWV.
So yeah, that whole who's the headliner thing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And I don't know why if Chris Brown and Lil Baby could co-headline, I don't know why SWV and Escape can't.
Somebody's name got to be on top, but you see on the show who's on top.
Chris Brown and Lil Baby, both they were co-headliners. When I tell you I thought Lil Baby's set was over, Chris Brown came out. I'm like, yes.
Finally. Where were you?
That's when she got rained on.
But then I got rained on. And then
outside? Oh yeah.
But wait, but Lil Baby came back again. I'm like, are they co-headlining? So there is a possibility for them to share the show because
he came back. Like, so Chris Brown
was like act 1, act 2, act 3, act 4.
Lil Baby was done.
It was like on the run.
Yes. Yes. And I was
Okay.
so mad. I was like, why is he back? I'm here for Chris. I don't
Nuh-uh.
understand.
Not you got
He
mad.
kept
But
coming back.
how
The
many
little
hits
boy
does he
kept coming
have
back.
to
I'm
be
sorry,
able
little baby kept coming back.
to go back and forth? He got what, 3 songs?
You know they be putting
Girl,
out underground
it,
records.
Oh yeah,
well, surprisingly
and
so. Every time little
collabs and
baby came
stuff.
back, I knew another one. I was like, oh, I know this one too. So
Yeah.
it's, it was okay.
Yeah.
But there is a way. I say that to say they can compromise and co-headline, but the
You
story
know, Coco ain't going on and off the stage. Coco wants to stand there and
she, so the story is because Candy and Tiny have such like millions of followers compared to just hundreds of thousands that all the other ladies have, they're gonna bring the
the
people
crowd.
in, right? So they should headline. But I still think SWV has more of the sales when it comes to the music, right? So that's what the last episode was about. But you guys tell us,
Not worth my
what's your
time, it sounds
interest.
like. But
All
I
right,
hate
so
that
on
the
to the next.
sisters. I hate that the sisters are fighting. I just
It's
hope they
sad.
can get it
And
together because
and then
that's really
just
sad.
not just the sisters, but then the
Awkward.
mom seems like she kind of sides with one over the
One over the
other.
other.
And it seems like it's some deep stuff like from way back in the day that's really
And you
mm,
wait till you get a show to air all this
Right.
out. That
yes.
happened
I
20
think
plus
that's
years
Yeah.
ago.
add
I
fuel
don't
to the
like it. I
fire.
don't like it. And I don't know why everybody hating on Latasha's runs. In the 90s, everybody was living for all that runs.
Living for
And
what?
now they say she over singing, she sing too hard.
No,
Don't nobody
they
need
weren't
all
living
them
for
runs.
that. They call it the runs. That's what the singers call it.
She
You don't
said
know
they call
about
it the runs,
you
not
don't know
the
about
runs.
when you go when they do all that, that's a
Oh.
run.
Mm.
Anyway, let's move on to another
Now,
topic.
see,
Speaking of fandom,
don't nobody
though,
cut her off when
wait
she
a
talk
minute.
about dance and the recitals.
And you right. And you right. It's not a recital. They're showcasing.
I was gonna see if you
Okay.
caught that.
Stop. So recitals are for little children.
I
So
know.
anyway, Dr. Courtney don't do recitals.
I know.
What was I gonna say? Speaking of fandom, right? In this craze, did you all see Swarm?
Mm-hmm.
This is a whole nother level. It's on Prime Video, and it's and they say in the disclaimer in the beginning that it's not fiction. It
Based on true events.
They said any
don't quote me. Wait a minute.
like like any reference to or
It's
anything that
intentional.
looks like a
Yeah,
person or an event, it's
it's
intentional.
intentional. Like
But y'all know,
what you
okay,
think it's about, we want you to think it's about that person,
right.
but it's
Which
supposed
is
to be fiction.
to me
However,
is true Donald
when
Glover
when
fashion.
when I went through the episodes, I was like, is this a real person? Like it made you think like this
Girl,
could have happened in real life. So yes, spoiler alert, it is
a mess.
a really big star, the biggest female artist right now, right? And a fan is completely obsessed with her. And anybody who talks about her bad on Twitter, she's going around and she's gonna kill you dead
A
if you
mess.
talk bad about her. And they really did it off like a black female um, serial killer, and they don't really have a lot. The percentage of black female serial killers is very very low. So to bring this to light, like, okay, this could really happen. It was crazy. But I'm like, I really hope that people don't do that over someone they're obsessed with that they can't reach. Like it was really far fetched, but
So what I've
it was
seen online, I've
pretty
tried
bad.
to kind of
I've
look up.
seen he's canceled. But
I've
go ahead.
I've seen who's
They
canceled?
canceled down Danny Glover.
Not Danny
Donald
Not
Glover.
Glover.
Danny. Not
Donald.
Danny.
Donald Glover.
Danny. Danny's still beloved.
I've
Mr.
seen that
Mr.
Beloved.
Still Love.
it's
Excuse me.
saying that it's not based on like a particular person, um,
But it took it from
but
events
it's
all
like
over, didn't it?
events of several different people.
Yeah, they made it
Is
seem
that
like
your mic, Dr. Courtney?
probably. I'm trying to shift it. Is that better?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. It was falling. My apologies,
Oh
engineer
Lord.
producer. So but what I was saying, it kind of also puts you into perspective, like, oh, these people really are, going hard for, they called it the swarm instead of the hive, but I just, people
It was
should
a
put their
it was a lot
reality
to
in check.
it was a lot to unfold.
People should put their
Well,
reality in check. Like, are you going too far on Twitter? Like, are you going too far to go out for this person that don't know you from a mile?
And then along with that, it had a lot of sensitive subjects in it, dealing with, I'm not gonna give it away, but just, with her personal life, and then, her friend, and then her family. It was a lot.
So how do you tie that into Black?
They said that Donald ain't beating the rap that he has some against Black women because somebody asked about, I guess, the main character's character development. And they're like, you shouldn't really think too much into it. She doesn't really have a lot of character development. She's just doing whatever she does. And it's like, okay, we don't care about this woman. But then it's like, well, Malia Obama this was her first full-time writing gig, and she had a lot of input in it. So they're like, you can't say that he don't, care about how the Black woman is perceived when he's hiring Black women to write, et cetera, et cetera. So
was this the best time to put it out during Black Women's History Month? I call it Black Women's History Month.
Oh, that's
right.
That starts on the 15th, huh? Well, we just ended Women's History Month, and we're getting ready. Well, I think we just had Give Love Xavier Day. So shout out to Xavier, and I hope that you gave. Are there any women that you remember from Xavier that helped you along your way? While y'all are thinking, y'all know who my favorite person is, Miss Shirley Labby from the Counseling Center. That is my ace. I was president of the NAACP, and she was our advisor, and we just grew very fond of each other and became great friends. So She helped me matriculate.
Oh, I don't think I've spoken before. I always loved Dr. Pramar.
I was gonna say Dr. Pramar from Pharmacist.
Okay, well, I'll say somebody else.
Well, it's all right, because she was my advisor.
Dr. Pramar,
your advisor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Pramar, and then Dr. Conchetta White Fulton. She's always comes to mind.
I have a story about Dr. Pramar. So, P3 year was a very hard year. So, I wasn't doing too well in one of my classes, and I remember going to Dr. Pramar, and I was like, "Look, I gotta pass this class. I gotta finish on time." And so she was like, giving me, what's the game plan? How are we going to get through this and buckle down? And then she said, and at the end of the day, if you have to do it again next year, just do it again. You'll be a pharmacist the rest of your life. What's one more year? And I was like, no.
I wish somebody would have told me that.
We're not doing that. No. And I walked out of there like, I don't think so. But it was, that's just the way she was. Like, hey, look, this is not the end of the world. You are going to get through it. It's one class. So we would have those conversations. But she was very inspiring during pharmacy school. I was able to go in there and talk to her a lot. I don't know if you guys knew, but I did. I would go in there and talk to her quite often.
I'm glad I remember that relationship.
Yeah, I used to go in there and try and get extra credit.
I didn't talk to a lot of people. I think I was very prideful, but Dr. Pramar I talked to for sure.
And she had that type of personality where you could just sit and talk to her. So
yeah,
she was great.
Awesome. Well, we have something else now. Spring break is here, and I know
spring break.
Yes.
Okay, so our spring break was early. We're like more closer to Easter.
No, we had winter break, and now we have
spring break. Oh, our winter break was okay. Y'all are different, really different.
Yeah, we get to enjoy spring break in April, and it's really around Easter for my
that's our Easter break, right?
Yeah. So I mean, y'all, I really did some spring cleaning this year. I purged my closet. I got like 2 trash bags of shoes out. It was really therapeutic, right? It's good for my mental health as well to get out with the old and with the new. But it was another, you have New Year's, and then this is another renewal. New things are growing outside. Allergy season. Let's not talk about that. But things are starting to come into bloom again, and weather is getting better. So I really did do some spring cleaning in my house. And now I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to continue this self-care journey. This is my spring cleaning, my mental health. What about you guys? Any spring cleaning on your end? Y'all don't spring cleaning?
I do it throughout the year to my godson, Dr. Devin.
Oh, please bring me the next set of clothes.
I stay having something ready for him. But as far as like my own closet, I'm kind of starting. I think I did it like 4 years ago, so it's time for me to do it again
4
because that
years
was
you don't spring clean every year?
no, not for real. Because I work from home
I
and
accumulate so much crap.
I don't.
You buy
It's
a
like
lot of fast fashion.
Yeah, like I think I have a lot left from when I was working in the office that I need to get rid of. That's the stuff I need to get rid of now. Fast fashion. So explain that, Dr. Sylvia.
What's trendy? I buy all the trendy stuff and then I can't wear it next year.
I don't know what you can wear the following year. I don't know.
Sounds like that's what she meant.
That's what she
No,
meant.
that's not what I meant. I meant you buy a lot of fast fashion. It's not meant to be worn season after season. So I don't think you can't fit it. I don't think you can't fit it. I don't think it's made well. And, it could be made.
Yeah, you're right, because I be wearing stuff one time and then it's out.
But I think, and especially since we like started the podcast and started having events, like we've become good. We got a couple sites that we love for
our go-tos.
Yes, that our go-tos, especially for events when you're going to wear something, but you don't want to spend too much money on it. But it needs to look good.
I got so much sparkle in my closet. I'm playing with y'all.
And who is that? That ain't me. That is not me.
Mm-hmm. Guilty.
Anyway, y'all, I'm excited about our guest. I think it's a topic that we've avoided for a little while.
How did we segue from sequin to
still avoiding?
Yeah,
sequin went from like I guess that's the stage of life we in. Is that what you're trying to say?
Okay.
Denim and diamond parties. That's where we at.
Hey, I'm on
pearls and diamonds. That's where we at. White. Who's wearing white diamonds? Anyway.
Denim and diamonds to white diamonds is something totally different.
Right.
Okay.
White diamonds like granny.
Obsession is granny. I feel like white diamonds is a little like you might not be on
18
retired yet.
Oh Lord.
Anyway,
old.
Y'all, I'm excited about our guest. She is a fellow Xavier University College of Pharmacy alum, and she also got her Master's of Health Services Administration with a concentration in health economics from the University of Wyoming.
Oh wow!
I think I know one other person that lived in Wyoming.
I have an uncle from Wyoming.
No, you don't.
I do. My aunt's husband is from Wyoming. That was the first Black person I met from Wyoming.
No. Okay. With her 20 years of expertise in managed care, health economics, health equity, she runs her own website where she offers health and wellness tips and addresses healthcare disparities. She has long been involved in organizations focused on health equity, implicit bias, and community empowerment. She currently serves as a clinical quality committee chair and board secretary at, I'm going to say this wrong, Eskensra Health Center. So we'll get that corrected. But we are happy to welcome a longer-awaited guest. We had to get our schedules in sync. Dr. Stephanie Young Moss. Welcome to the Three Friends Talk stage.
Yes, hey, ladies. I'm so happy to be here. Like you said, it's
Stephanie.
long overdue. Hi.
It is. I first met Dr. Stephanie during our time. It was the pandemic, and we were all, we all in that reel together when everybody was doing the transition.
We don't rush challenge
time on our hands.
Was that like the birth of TikTok? Is that when TikTok became like?
I don't know, but people got bit by the bug to start doing these videos at that time.
The don't rush challenge.
Yes,
it was good. It went everywhere too.
Yeah, that was one of my first virals. That was one of my first virals.
It was great. That was so much fun, and I think y'all made me change my outfit. It was too revealing. Y'all were like, Dr. Courtney, too much up here.
I remember I asked this guy about it. He was like, "Oh, y'all just hating. She looked fine."
Yeah,
she asked a couple of guys about it. They were like,
"I don't see the problem." They were like, "No, I'm not wearing that." But we're gonna have to put up the old video, y'all. It was really like, if you look back at it now, it's like, wow, we had a lot going on. So this is great.
Now we're happy to have you.
We now have you on the Three Friends Talk stage, and like all of our other guests, we would like to play a little game with you. Are you up for it?
Okay, I am.
All right. So this game is called This or That, and we usually have Dr. Leah to assist me with a timer. So we're going to put 30 seconds on the clock, and I'm going to try to get through as many questions as possible so that we can get to know you a little bit better. So first thing that comes to mind of the choices I give, just blurt it out. Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's go. And Dr. Leah, when I say go, hit the button. Go. iPhone or Droid?
iPhone.
Why you look like that? Heels or sneakers?
Sneakers.
Okay. Late nights or early mornings?
Both.
No, ma'am. Staycation or vacation?
Okay.
No,
vacation.
Staycation or vacation?
Vacation.
All right. Foot rubs or back massages?
Foot rubs.
Okay. TikTok.
Back massages get you into a lot of trouble. Go ahead.
Definitely. TikTok or IG?
Y'all just blew that time.
TikTok.
Okay, we're gonna keep going.
I'm sorry. I think I didn't go by the rules. I apologize.
Put some thought behind these answers. All right. We got just a few more. Rich friend or loyal friend?
Loyal friend.
Love or money?
Love.
Wait.
You sure?
She been thinking on all of them.
You acting like the aunties, honey.
The next question.
I am my auntie officially, I think.
Okay, last but not least, what is in your cup? Coffee, wine, or Hennessy?
Right now it's water. Oh, coffee, wine, and Hennessy. Wine.
That was not one of the options.
I know. I'm not doing good at this.
Let her make
wine.
Wine. She said
wine. Okay, we'll go with it. Leah is our wine connoisseur. I'm going to deem her that tonight. So you with Leah on that one. All right, not too bad. I think you're hesitant. I'm going to have to circle back to some of these questions.
That love of money. That love of money.
I had you stopped a little bit. Okay, let's keep going. Let's dive right into it. So, hit it.
Can y'all hear me? Because I had a whole mic malfunction just a second ago.
I see. Everybody's mic is malfunctioning tonight. We can't hear you.
Hear you.
You can? Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
Loud
okay,
clear.
Good. I'll talk real loud if I have to. But yes, Dr. Stephanie, thank you again for being with us tonight. So just start out telling us a little bit about your journey and, through pharmacy school and, why you picked pharmacy. And also, okay, we've never had anybody who kind of combines pharmacy and economics. So tell us about how you went that route.
Okay. Well, as you guys said, I went to Xavier. And I remember when I was in, of course, when you're younger, your mom said, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a physician. And I went into school thinking that's what I wanted to be. And I talked to my guidance counselor like my second year. And she was like, have you ever thought about pharmacy? And it was really for the most sexist reasons. She was like, you'll never be on call. You can take care of your kids. That's what she told me. But now you think about
that's
some
what you
of
thought.
The things that pharmacists have to do.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I was like, well, let me look into it. And I looked into it. And then I ended up working in a pharmacy, Eckert Pharmacy back in the day. And then
Eckert,
I just ended
throwback.
up
Me. Right.
I interned at Eckert.
Back in the day. So then I ended up in Tennessee. I'm originally from Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I went to
same store.
What part of Tennessee?
Chattanooga.
Well, you're way on the other side. I'm from Memphis.
Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, we got East Coast, West Coast beef between.
It's not a coast. Is that some water somewhere?
It's the coast of the borders. The borders of Tennessee.
Yes, it's so long. So it's Memphis and then it's Tennessee. So that's how we, that's how we do.
That's true.
I know somebody from Jackson, Tennessee.
Jackson is close to Memphis.
Yeah, that's close to her. Yeah.
Never heard.
So I'm actually Chattanooga is basically Atlanta. I mean suburb. I mean really an hour and a half away.
A lot about that.
Oh, is that close? How far is it?
No, it's an hour and a half, but
it's not far.
With traffic.
All I hear about is Usher from Chattanooga. Like that's
exactly. I remind everybody about that every time they mention Usher.
Yeah, Usher.
He's from Chattanooga, right?
Right.
Didn't, but okay.
Everybody in Atlanta knows it.
You didn't know that? Okay.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, because that was a big deal. Because he used to say when he first came out that he was from Atlanta, and Chattanooga people got mad, and so he started saying Chattanooga. He was like, okay,
you better represent right.
Yeah.
Got it.
So anyway, I went to pharmacy school, and while I was in school, I ended up getting introduced to industry, so pharmaceutical industry. and I got an internship there while I was in school. I was calling on physicians and everything. And then I just fell in love with that and ended up doing a postgraduate fellowship at Eli Lilly for it was in compliance. So I ended up doing that for a while. I stayed in regulatory compliance, ended up going to managed care. And then I saw a friend at a conference and she was like, have you thought about health economics? I'm hiring. I was like, let's talk about it. So then I ended up thinking about looking back at all the things I've done in managed care. It really was related to health economics and making sure that the drugs really did what they said they did and are we covering it for the right reasons. So I was able to transfer that skill to health economics outcomes research. And then that's why I went to Wyoming as well, so I can go ahead and get some more training in case I never worked there, because my friend hired me, which people do that all the time, right?
Right.
So I ended up going to Wyoming, and I didn't like. I'm saying go to Wyoming. It was online, but I did have to go there a few times. That few times was enough. Few times was enough, and so now I just stayed on from there. But I am no longer in corporate America anymore. I have my own business. So.
Yeah. Let's talk about it. Tell us about your own business.
Yeah. Well, of course, I have Dr. Stephanie Yomo, which I've done for a while. And, to be honest, my hands were really tied because when you work for industry, you guys know you can't do a lot of stuff. You got to sign away. You can't talk about this. You can't talk about that. So it kind of has shifted. Exactly. So I'm now I am so I still do health disparities. I do wellness tips. I talk about easy wellness tips within our community and some health literacy with some organizations here. But then my biggest thing that I'm doing now is with menopause in color, and I talk about menopause and support women in perimenopause and menopause, and kind of teach them about menopause and perimenopause because a lot of times we know nothing about it. Because I'm gonna be honest, I was going through it and had no idea until I was already in menopause. And I was telling my doctor all these symptoms and she never did anything. I hope she doesn't watch this because I do love her. But I found out on my own through my own research that that's what was happening with me. Yeah. So I figured if I didn't know it, I'm a healthcare professional. We studied this stuff in school. I'm sure there's many other women who aren't familiar and don't know this. So I support women in that area and then also do training for corporations if they want to talk about menopause and perimenopause, especially with their HR managers and leaders, because they also need to know that this is what's happening. And a lot of your workforce is in menopause. It's not the woman that you see on the commercial box, with gray hair. It's me. I'm not going to say us because, you guys are younger than me, but it's people that look like me that are, we don't, we think we're too young. I thought I was too young, but I wasn't. So. Wow. That's what I do.
And that's really important work. I'll keep it very general, but it is very shocking to go into a doctor's office and find out you can no longer have children because you've entered that stage in your life. So this is really important work. Nobody ever talks about it. I feel like we talked about it more in school than we do now, and we're getting up there. So that's awesome.
Right.
Do you mind me asking you the age that you found out?
Well, like 46, 40, like, to be honest, you mean when I found out I was in menopause? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
So I figured out I was in perimenopause because I would go to the doctor and say, my ears are ringing, my ears are itchy. They would say, "Oh, let's clean out your ears." She cleaned out my ears. My heart is racing. I went to the cardiologist. It came back normal, but nothing else was talked about, which I will say there are a lot of symptoms that could mirror other things. So it's very important to rule out everything before you just say, "Oh, it must just be perimenopause," when it could be something else. So I did go to the cardiologist. It came back fine. No findings of anything, but no one talked about perimenopause. And my OB sent me to the cardiologist. But she never discussed what it possibly could be after that. And just even your mood, like depression, anxiety, all of those different things are affected by your hormones because there's so many different estrogen receptors within the body that touches from the brain all the way to your toes that we don't realize that it can affect. So once I was having all those symptoms, I ended up looking on my own and I was like, oh my gosh, this is perimenopause. And so I told my doctor, hey, I want to get some blood work done. which 9 times out of 10, you don't have to have a hormone panel done. If you have so many symptoms, they can say, well, it looks like you're entering into perimenopause. But I wanted to see for myself, since I have been researching it, what my levels were. So I thought I was in perimenopause all this time, took my hormone levels. And here's another thing, this may be TMI, but I don't have a cycle because I had an ablation. So I couldn't tell if my cycle had been 12 months, because menopause is once your cycle is gone for 12 months in one day, you're considered into being into menopause. And those symptoms are one thing, but that's what really menopause is. And then you consider to be postmenopausal. Like, so menopause is really like one day. Perimenopause can be 10 years or more or less. Everyone's different. Yeah, but between 4 and 10 years, you can go through that. But then once that cycle stops, is when you consider that day is menopause, and then postmenopause is after that. So I told my doctor, like, this past October, like, hey, I want to get my hormones tested. I don't have a cycle. Let's see what's going on. She took my hormones, and I went into my own. You can go into your back,
your portal,
into your chart, and it said, you are menopausal. You are in menopause. That's what it said. I was like, wait a minute. Like, my levels were so low. So I went through all that as a healthcare professional. I went through all that.
No help.
And I had no help, had no idea. So I don't want other people to have to do that. I get so many people that literally say, I thought I was going crazy, like I'm itching. I have these mood swings. A couple of people even say, hey, this has affected my job. This has affected my marriage. There's so many people that I get that are responding on my, through social media and emails, that it's actually really overwhelming how much women are suffering and that we're not talking about it.
Wow. So thank God that you are a social media superstar and putting the word out, honey. Go follow what is Dr. Stephanie Young Moss on TikTok?
Dr. Stephanie Yomo. Yes, Dr. Stephanie Yomo on TikTok and on Instagram. Yes. So Menopause in Color is just my Facebook group. And then I have my website for Menopause in Color. That's a private group. And so we can talk and do other things in there as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think you really touched on what I wanted to talk about, what is menopause versus perimenopause, and, when should you start to experience those symptoms? So did you actually say?
I didn't talk about the age. No, I did not talk about the age. So the age, typically, it can start, for some women, it can start in their mid-30s. They could start seeing symptoms then, but some women may not start into their 50s seeing symptoms. It just depends on the person. Everyone's different. But I will say that Black women typically experience perimenopause longer. We have longer bouts because, like I said, it's typically from 4 to 10 years. But Black women typically have on that longer end of the spectrum of having symptoms of perimenopause. So if you start, let's say, like, for instance, I can't even tell exactly when I actually started symptoms. I need to go back in my chart and look and see, when did I go to the cardiologist? When did I go? All those things I can look up into the dates, but I had to be early 40s when I was complaining about it. And now I'm 48. So it just depends. So, and they're saying that the average age of menopause is 49 for Black women and 51 for Caucasian women.
Amen.
Gotcha. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the age range, Dr. Courtney.
Thank you. I'm gonna pass it to Dr. Leah.
Well, and it kind of goes into my question because when you think of, like, I guess, your family history, like, I was always told that you kind of base it off of your mother. So my mother didn't have anyone to base it off of because her mother had a hysterectomy early on, I think in her 30s or 40s. So my mom kind of had to go through it on her own and understand it, in her way. So then she always told me, well, you'll probably be on the same line as me, where I was like, does that really make sense, or is everybody unique?
Well, you know what? You're supposed, they say you do base it off your mom, but there's a bunch of other factors that goes into that. Stress, diet, exercise, environment, like all of that stuff actually will affect when you go into menopause. So think about your cycle. Did you start your cycle the same time the same age your mom did? I'm looking at my girls didn't start the same, age that I did. So it's just a lot of different environmental factors and other things that really play into that as well. And you made a good point, Dr. Leah, when you said that your mom didn't have anyone to go, didn't have anyone to look at to see when she would start, because although menopause has been around, forever, it's really fairly a new health phenomenon if you think about it, because people are living longer, life expectancy is longer. And so no one was really either they weren't, some of their ancestors weren't reaching the menopausal age, or they reached and they didn't talk about it. Or they because it was you couldn't really, you didn't talk about sexual things. You didn't talk about when you start your cycle. You didn't talk about when you stop your cycle. So now we're really just, really, and I'm not going to say now we're starting to talk about it, but let's say in the early 1900s or maybe say mid-century is when we really were really starting to talk about it. And when you think about all other health phenomena, that's really, really fairly new if you think about it for a health, for health. So we're still really learning a lot of things, and it's really up to us to keep the conversation going and talk about it with future generations so that we won't be, shame or shy to talk about menopause.
Right. Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So, Dr. Stephanie, you look like you could be younger than us. So, the girls and I have talked about opening our TikToks, and you be right there. We be like, "Oh, not today, not today," because
it's so funny. Dr. Sylvia said it one day, and she was like, "I keep seeing these menopause." I was like, "Girl," I was like, "What is this? What is this in the atmosphere? What is it trying to tell us?"
Yeah,
well, the algorithms. The algorithm on TikTok does not play like serious. Instagram algorithm is cool, but TikTok algorithm, if you say men know whatever, it's gonna sink.
I don't say it, but you be there right there, ready and waiting. I mean, my last name is Perry, but I'm just like, not yet. So we messaged a little bit. I froze my eggs, and I'm planning to have a baby. So I know you have a few years on us now, but like when we were having this conversation, we didn't know how old you were. We were like, we don't know. So so if Perry or Minnie is coming for me or is right around the corner for me, what advice would you have for someone that still wants to maybe have a child? General advice, I guess.
Well, I would say, first of all, if you're in perimenopause, you still can get pregnant. Eggs will pop off. Eggs can still, if you're still having a cycle, you still can have eggs that can come out, come down. You can get and be fertilized. So a lot of people are saying, people having babies at 48 because they didn't realize they, can get pregnant, or even 50. But now, don't get me wrong, the chances are a lot less, but you still can possibly get pregnant if you still have eggs, if you're still having your cycle. But my suggestion would be to talk to your doctor, talk to your either fertility specialist or your OBGYN to just make sure that you're either preparing yourself. You can get your hormones checked to see what it looks like. If you want to, you can do that as well. But just talk to them and make a plan of what you want to do, and what kind of, if they can kind of gauge to see, well, your hormone levels are looking like this. Let's hurry up and get this done, or let's try and do some more diet and exercise to get your body ready as well. So it's just, the real thing is, it's hard to predict, but I think just keeping that conversation open with either your fertility specialist or your OBGYN is the most important thing. But don't think because you're in perimenopause that you can't get pregnant, because
I'm not in perimenopause, so
you're not. Okay, girl. You're not.
Don't speak it into existence.
Nope. Do not speak it. Nope.
That's the journey I'm on right now, the diet and exercise, and then I'll follow up in June. So yeah.
I hope
I didn't keep your stress low.
Was acting up.
Stress.
Now, keep your stress low, because that's one of the things they say why Black women are either having worse symptoms and having longer symptoms is because of stress and social, even structural racism as well. All of that plays into that as well. Yep.
Oh, good. I'm glad you
always
said
get
that.
beat up.
Wow.
Well, tell us about some of those symptoms. You named some. You said ringing in the ears and itching.
Yep, itchy skin, dry, itchy skin. Some people will have hair loss, but typically that's a little bit later, or hair thinning rather. You'll also have hot flashes. Of course, you always hear about hot flashes, night sweats. That's what I thought it was just hot flashes and night sweats, just the vasomotor symptoms. But you have itching. You can have heart palpitations. You can have what's called like a metallic taste in your mouth, but things just don't taste right. You have people who have things like phantom smells, where they think they smell smoke. And if you go into my comments, you see like things that people are saying, "Oh my God, I thought I was crazy. I was smelling smoke all this time," and like little things like that. And everyone won't have every single symptom. So I've had some women that actually upset me just a little bit because they're like, it's not that serious. I didn't have that. Well, everybody's different. Some people may not have any signs and symptoms, but then some people will have every symptom on the list. So you can't really just say it's not that bad because they, that person didn't have the symptoms. But I will say that making sure that you are keeping your, your vitamins, your vitamin levels good, and diet and exercise, all of that does play into it, and keeping your stress low, that does actually play into you going into menopause and perimenopause too. So try and watch that as well.
Good advice.
So how is our sex life affected by this? I need to know.
Yes, so I did not say that one. Yes, so that's a big one. So low libido, people have low libido where they either don't want to have sex, they even have vaginal atrophy or dryness. But atrophy is typically if you're like postmenopausal, when you get a lot older, if you aren't taking any kind of hormones or doing any having any kind of lubricants or natural lubricants daily, then you can get vaginal atrophy. But typically it will be not as much lubrication and low libido. And then also people get a lot of frequent UTIs. And then also you can also have things like bacterial vaginosis, which is because of that pH level is affected too by that drop in estrogen. So all of that, and and people are like, oh, it's so bad. But like I said, everyone does not experience this. So somebody just may have one symptom. So I don't want people to think all menopausal women got, this and that. There's just certain things that certain people have that they need to keep in mind that what could possibly be perimenopause and menopause symptoms.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and that's only, guys, only touched the tip of the iceberg on some of the signs and symptoms. So I do have a free workbook that helps people check off some of the symptoms. The link is in my bio or on my webpage as well. Well, it just helps them get the conversation going with their doctor so that they can check off, doc, this is what I've been experiencing. Can you talk to me about it? And a lot of people go to the doctor and their doctor say, oh, you're too young. One lady was like, she was 48, and her doctor was like, oh, I'm older than you, and I don't have anything, so you're too young. And it's not based on that; it's based on the individual person. Wow. So checking off those boxes and wow, right.
To be told
so at least getting the conversation started. And no, right, you're too young. You're younger than me, so you couldn't be. I mean,
that's so scientific.
Right. So well, just that will help people be able to at least talk about it, because you got to think about it. A lot of physicians, a lot of nurses, and even pharmacists, they only touch a little bit on menopause and perimenopause in school. So I had to go and do extra research on my own in order to learn these things. So a lot of doctors are not even OBs, and so when you say OBGYN, OB, they're like they deliver babies. A lot of times they're not as like, that's what they're looking at. That's what they're studying.
They're
that's
not on
the
that
most
other
important
spectrum.
thing. They're not on the other spectrum yet. Now, I will say my doctor, so I came to her at the beginning of her career. She was young. I was young. It was all babies. So now she's my age, and now she was like, I'm done delivering babies. Now she's on the anti-aging. So now she is ready to talk about it and do that.
Through her career, through her age as well.
Yep. Oh my goodness.
Because her clientele, you gotta think about her clientele is aging.
Yeah.
They're shifting. Yeah, they're aging. So she needs to be able to help. So when I was going through it at 40, she was kind of like, well, I don't, ring it in ear, let me clean your ears out. So yeah, so they're still learning too. And people are like, why my doctor don't know? Well, it's because it just wasn't focused on it. People have to really go and either talk to a specialist who specializes in hormone therapy or who specializes in, and it doesn't always have to be hormone therapy, but who specializes in women who are of a certain age. Or that's just the main thing, is make sure you talk to someone who knows what they're talking about.
Well, speaking about hormones, so there's always been like a debate about people receiving hormone replacement therapy. We've gone through so many different spectrums of that as well. From horse urine. Sylvia,
what'd you say?
Premarin. Okay, gotcha. Horse urine to bioidentical hormone therapy.
Yes.
So let's talk about like currently what is the benefit versus risk? Because I'm confused, to be honest with you.
And on the Kardashians, the mom said she started having a period again after she got on some bioidentical hormone therapy. So I'm like, what is
Yeah.
this?
Well, yeah, and you got to think about it because it's bringing your levels back up, and that's what makes you have a cycle, right? So you will start. That can happen to you. It can happen, but usually what it do, it will kind of level itself out where it may start a little bit. So it's kind of a trade off. Which one? What do you want to do? Which one do you want to do? Right. But so the thing is, my main focus is not to tell people whether they should be on hormones or whether they should do natural. Is to equip them to talk to the healthcare professional about what they want to do so they know the options. Because if you think about, there was a study, the WHI Women's Health Initiative. Dr. Sylvia, are you talking? Because it's like glitching.
No, it was.
It's a lag.
Okay.
He was just moving.
I noticed that too. I thought it was just me.
It's a lag. I don't know. I saw that. I said that's
good now.
Sorry.
So the Women's Health Initiative was a study that stopped in like 2001 or 2002 because they found out that the women were having symptoms that were like cardiovascular issues. They were having heart attacks. They were having more heart attacks based on the people who were on actual placebo. So the women were on synthetic hormones. So they were on Premarin, pregnant mare's urine. That's what we learned in school. I'm sure probably Dr. Pharm probably did teach us that. Mm-hmm. And then they were also on progestin, which is synthetic progesterone, right? It's not natural. So they were taking that. And the women that were in the study, I believe they were age, I don't know if they were 60 and over, which is, I'm not going to say that's old, but that's like, that's old for
higher risk. Yeah. Higher risk.
Yes, you're higher risk anyway. Right. So you're higher risk anyway. So when they started looking at all of the research, they started seeing, these women, the osteoporosis was better, risk of colon cancer was better, but things like breast cancer, cardiovascular issues, some of those things were popping up, stroke, all of those they showed that the trial, the arm that had the drug versus placebo had more of those things. So they ended up stopping the study. And when they brought out the headlines, it went straight to the news that you need to get off. This is what's happening. So the news got it before really the researchers got it. Right. Mm-hmm. And there were some things in the research that you can point out. The people who were on the younger spectrum, they actually weren't having those issues. They weren't having as many issues as the people who are on the older spectrum. And they just took it and ran with it and made people who they were on hormones in 2001 and they stopped like the next day. Like they went cold turkey. So I started to think about, like, when I think about my mom, that was probably around the time when she was would have been entering around menopause age. So they didn't have anything because doctors were afraid to prescribe, right? They were afraid to prescribe anything. So my suggestion is, if you want to do hormones, talk to someone about it, because you do have your bioidentical hormones. They have newer hormones now that are actually based more natural. So they are based off of wild yam. It's a chemical taken out of wild yam. They're still made in the lab, but it looks like your hormones in your body. Your progesterone, it looks like the chemical in your body.
Right. So that's what she's saying. The chemical structure is close to the chemical structure. That's your
yeah, it looks more like the chemical structure in your body. So that's why they say bioidentical. And the wild yam is considered plant-based. So they do have more of those now. And if people want to take a patch is not metabolized through your liver as much as the ones that you take orally. So then that's fewer, that's a little bit less stress on the body as far as trying to metabolize it. But if you are, they suggest that you take it within 10 years after going into menopause. That's the suggestion. But there are some patches and other things that are on gels that women who are older can also take as well, because now they're seeing the bioidentical, and then looking at some of the benefits of it. People are actually, it does lessen your risk of cardiovascular health. And the reason being is because estrogen is protective. It's actually a protective hormone. So if a woman goes into perimenopause or menopause, let's say in their 30s, or they have to have a hysterectomy, Dr. Leah, like your mom did, they will make them, your grandmother, they really need to be on, and I hate to say this because I don't want nobody to say, Dr. Stephanie told me I need to be on hormones, but the suggestion is that they do have a replacement, because they're going all of those years without any estrogen, and that's really protecting their cardiovascular health, protecting them from obesity, protecting them from even osteoporosis, which we don't think about. We really don't think about, Black women getting osteoporosis, but they can. We
I
can
do,
really
because my
can.
mama fall a lot. I need to protect her
Yeah,
bones.
yeah, the hips,
Lord have
exactly.
mercy.
Those hips, you're right.
My mama
So
fell in the street
that,
the other day.
Courtney.
I'm serious. She tripped in the campus in New Orleans. The woman,
So
the
those
man across the
falls,
street,
that's
the man across the street said, "You a soldier." To help my mama out the street. Child. Continue, please.
so those hormones, if they're missing, say, from your 30s and 40s, that's a long time not to be without estrogen. So estrogen is more than just a sex hormone. It is really protective and cardioprotective. So though it's suggested that those women do seek out some type of hormone therapy, because all you're doing is replacing what they would have had anyway for another 20 years. If they decide to get off of it in 10 or 20 years, that's fine, but at least replace that, right? So I'm not against hormones at all. If people want to do gels or patches, they feel like that's safe, that's fine. But if you're young and you don't have any factors, like for instance, if you don't have a clotting factor or a history of stroke or migraines even in your family, I would say go another route, patches or gels or something like that. But make sure that you talk to your healthcare professional before you do anything else. Don't come for 3 Friends Talk or
Got
Dr.
that
Stephanie
disclaimer.
Yomo.
Yeah,
This is not
a patient-provider relationship. Make sure you discuss your health needs with your personal care team.
Exactly. And there are also some other, herbal things that people take as well, but they don't have extensive studies like some of the bioidentical hormones. And then there's also, of course, you can compound hormones, which pharmacists we do all the time, but they're not considered FDA approved, right? Because you really can't, if they're making it, you really can't. Are they making it in what kind of lab are they making it in? Are they really making it the correct way? So they're not considered FDA approved, but they are based off of, because it's a compound. We know that, right?
Yeah, it's harder to track.
So,
yeah.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
Dr. Stephanie, you are helping women in these transitions, giving them the words and the questions to ask their healthcare team. What's next for you?
What's next to me is to do more training when it comes to either patient education about perimenopause and menopause, and then also corporate training, because in the United Kingdom, they have menopause policies where you have to support your coworkers, but your employees through this transition, because it can affect them as far as on the work. So it's almost like I want to say disability clause, but it's a wellness clause or something, a policy that they're putting in place. And of course, the United States, we're behind. You may have some companies that are doing it, but there's not a lot of companies that are doing it yet. But I think it's really coming. And I think that we need to train corporations. We need to train HR managers, leaders of what they need, the signs and symptoms, what to look for, how to gently approach it, what legally can you do and say without getting in trouble, and how you can just support your employees' wellness overall. I think it's very important, because there's a lot of people in the workforce that are perimenopause and menopause, and they may have brain fog, they maybe have hot flashes, they may be tired because they didn't sleep, they have insomnia the night before. There's so many things that could be affecting them that we don't even realize.
Absolutely.
So that's what's next for me.
With all of that and everything that you're doing, the many hats that you wear, what are you doing for yourself for self-care?
For self-care, I like to travel. I also like to do yoga. And yoga is very good for perimenopause and menopause as well. So helps with mindfulness. It helps with strengthening your body, because aches and pains and joint pain can also be a symptom of perimenopause and menopause. So I felt my biggest symptoms were mental health issues that came up with it. And then also joints and bones is what really affected me the most. So I made sure I started taking yoga and helping myself in that way as well. But so that's what I really like to do is yoga and traveling.
And TikToks.
Yeah, I like that.
I love the TikToks. Yes. Well, tell everyone how they can connect with you if they want to follow you on TikTok or any social media platform. How can they find you?
They can reach me at Dr. Stephanie Yomo. That's DR, and Stephanie spelled the right way. Yomo, Yomo.
Not the right way.
There you go. Dr. Stephanie Yomo on all platforms. You can find me there on YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok. And then my website is also drstephanieyomo.com. And you can also go to Menopause in Color. That is my website, and it will take you to the private Facebook group in case you want to join women who are also thriving through perimenopause and menopause.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
I do have one more question. So you said you're considered postmenopausal after the year and a day. Do you feel like the brain fog got better? Like, do you, like, I guess you come out of these symptoms once you're in post?
Well, I had a 70-year-old tell me she still gets hot flashes. 70-year-old just told me I'm still getting hot flashes. She literally told me that. So everyone is different. So sometimes your body will adjust. It will adjust, kind of like say, for instance, if you're in a room and you're cold, after a while you'll start, your temperature will level out. You'll start to level out. So it's the same with your hormones. Eventually it will level out, but everybody's different. Some people will have where we'll get better short period of time, but then there are women who are, older 70s, 80s are still having some of these symptoms. So it just kind of depends on the person. So, I mean, I'm not having as many because I take hormones. So, and I'm not ashamed to say it. So,
yeah,
that's right. Cool. Well, this has been very insightful, and you've made it less scary, I will say that. So I really appreciate the work that you're doing.
Yes, because I want, you know what, and I'm glad you said that, because like my tagline is life doesn't end with your period, because we have like a third of our life after our cycle that we still need to be able to live and thrive and feel good, because we're retiring at 65. So you got to feel good to be able to travel and do everything else right after that time. So you need to be able to feel good, because life does not end with your period.
I like that. That's a good. That's a point. That's my
That's
takeaway.
That on that.
Hello. I love it. Well,
yeah.
What do we have next?
She already told us.
No, I'm
saying, just talking about for you.
I was talking about Three Friends Talk. We got some shirts and everything else. So
tell them about it, Dr. Courtney.
There too. Oh, me? I get to share?
Go ahead.
Get our shirts. Yes, we have merchandise.
Good. Congratulations, ladies.
Thank you. We really enjoyed this. So happy we could get you on, and I'm sure you'll have a lot of questions coming your way. And we'll have to get together in person and talk about this stuff.
Yes, we will have to. Yes. I would love that.
And do another TikTok.
We should do like a reunion, a Don't Rush reunion. See where we are. Where are they now? What happened to those in the Don't Rush challenge?
Some people kept on doing TikToks, and some people didn't.
Don't do that, Sylvie. She said some people didn't.
That's what happened. But anyway,
well,
bye, friends. Thanks for joining us
on